Mr. Sachs of Columbia on America's broken democracy. Trump's policies serve the corporate interests that pay the campaign bills and effectively run the U.S. government. What the president signifies is the culmination of a long-term process whereby powerful corporate lobbies have bought their way to power. Mr. Trump has handed them the keys to state, the EPA, and the Energy Department. We get a briefing here on what we're going to see this afternoon from our Kevin Cirilli, our chief Washington correspondent. I guess it's a gilded age, Kevin. Do you buy the idea from Professor Sachs that it's a corporate administration?
Personally, no. But I think, I think from a political standpoint, Tom, you have to remember that this is largely a political ideology debate in the sense that the president wants to remove himself from the Paris Accord agreement. Now, we're going to get an official announcement at 3 p.m. It's worth noting there's been a lot of palace intrigue about this, but I think to the columnist's point, Mr. Sachs' point, it is worth noting the outside groups who have lobbied for and against this. We should note, in particular, Tom, the Koch brothers, the Koch political orbit, very powerful here in Washington and throughout the country. They, of course, have been against the Paris Accord agreement and are very significant within the president's administration. But, you know, we're going to wait an announcement at 3 p.m. today.
I see within the zeitgeist the idea that the president can punt this to the Senate. Discuss. Yeah. How does that happen?
So, well, this is where it gets tricky. I actually was speaking with an expert about this yesterday just to kind of go through the process, and in the sense that this was never officially ratified. And so as a result of that, this is, by some measures and some political experts, Tom, and this is a great question because some political experts view the Paris Accord agreement as something that should have been ratified during the Obama administration by the Senate and never was. So we could have a situation where he could just say, hey, wait a minute, you guys decide this because this should be debated in Congress. If that's the case, then we're going to be talking about the Paris Accord agreement for a very long time. The downside to this, the point that I would very quickly make, is that the Senate already has its hands full. Healthcare, tax reform, not to mention infrastructure. Oh, yeah, they've got to keep the government open when we hit the debt ceiling in a couple of months. So to add the Paris Accord agreement into that would definitely jam the system even more.